you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. You are an average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Think about that. Think about, who do you spend the most time with? Are these people who you would like to be like? Are these people you look up to? Are these people that you feel, wow, I admire this person. I love the way they approach things. I would like to approach things in a similar way. If the answer is no, oof, you need to make some changes. You should really look at what you have going on and consider making some changes. Let's talk about this. Did you know that as much as 95% of your success or failure in life is determined by the people you habitually associate with? I learned about this through the research done by social psychologist Dr. David McClelland of Harvard University. And when I first heard this, 95% of your success or failure being determined by the people you spend the most time with, I just thought there's no way. Like, that number just did not make any sense to me. But the more that I think about this and the more I look back at my own experiences, the more it's really sunk in that, yeah, this makes sense. If you think about it, who you spend time with, who you talk to, who you listen to, these people greatly impact and shape your beliefs, your thoughts, your behaviors. And so it would make sense that so much of your life is shaped by the people we spend the most time with. And I think I'm going to get some, I don't know, backlash for this. But I know I try to be really selective about my friendships and my connections and who I spend time with for this very reason. If you are always hanging out with people who love going to the gym, they're always working out, they're counting calories, they're drinking protein shakes, then chances are you're probably going to be really fit yourself, because that's the world that you are spending your time in. If you like to hang out with people who love to party, who are going out every weekend, who enjoy a drink or 2 or 3 or 4, then chances are you're probably hungover right now. Like, that's just the reality. The people we hang out with, the activities they engage in, we are likely to engage in those activities ourselves. I remember joining this entrepreneurial group class, and it was all about learning how to close a sale. And I remember being in this space with all of these ladies who were, like me, determined to propel their business forward, to learn the skills to speak to clients and offer their services and talk about money with confidence. And that class was a game changer for me. Being around these women who were talking about money and really in a really casual way, talking about, charging $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 for a day worth of work. I remember being in that room and thinking, oh my goodness, like, I didn't know people could charge so much for this type of work. And I didn't even know this was a possibility. And all of a sudden, being in these spaces with these like-minded, go-getter women with all of this experience and expertise, it forced me, and actually I don't even want to say forced me, it encouraged me to level up in a way that was super inspiring for me. And don't get me wrong, there was a time where talking about prices with a comma in it, right? Talking about 1,000, 2,000, like talking in thousands, that was scary for me at the time. So it really did require a leveling up for me. And that's what happens when you shift the spaces you're spending your time in, when you start spending time with people who are where you want to be, things will shift for you. And the same is true for the opposite. If you start hanging out with people who are not as ambitious, are not thinking about their future in this way, that also has a really contagious effect. So when I think about the people I spend the most time with, especially when I think about it in terms of I am an average of the 5 people I spend the most time with, I again, I try to be really selective about that, and that can sometimes be tricky. Obviously, if you're spending a lot of time with your family, who you love, you're obviously a part of your family. Distancing yourself from certain relatives might be really tricky, or distancing yourself from certain friends that you've known for forever, that might also be really tricky. So this becomes kind of it becomes emotional, it becomes challenging to have the self-awareness of looking at yourself, your patterns, your behaviors, and really calling yourself out and owning your own stuff and saying, hey, I am not as go-getting in this situation. I haven't been as consistent or diligent in this area. I'm also noticing that the people I spend the most time with don't really prioritize this area of life. I wonder what that means. I wonder what I can do about that. I know I have made the tough choice of looking at that, of taking inventory of my relationships, both personally and professionally, and being kind of cutthroat about who I spend my time with, who I give my energy to, and what I want in return. And that might sound cold. I hear that, but I felt that it was necessary for me. So here's what I did. I legit made a list of my circle, who I'm spending the most time on the phone with, who I'm texting back and forth with, who I'm hanging out with, going out to brunch with, whatever. And I kind of cleaned up shop. And even my clients. What clients am I working with that I feel are taking up a lot of my time, but not necessarily in a way that lights me up, or not necessarily in a way that I feel compensates me the way that I want for the energy and the time that I'm putting forward. All of these things. And it is hard. It is hard to look at yourself, look at others, and it can feel kind of judgmental, right? To look at somebody that maybe you love dearly and say, I don't necessarily want to have this energy be contagious onto me. I don't necessarily want to take on this way of thinking, this way of living. I'm going to make the conscious choice to maybe spend less time with this person, or if I do spend time with this person, I'm going to make an active effort to not adapt their way of being. That's really hard. So if you're struggling with that, I feel you, been there, done that. I have friends that are really more acquaintances now that I noticed in the past 10, 15 years, they're doing the same things. They're having the same complaints. They're struggling with the same things, having the same worries, and feel kind of stuck. And they even talk about that stuckness. And so that's tough for me, because I'm not by any means saying that my life is perfect. Far from it. But one thing that I am really proud of myself for is that my mistakes, my challenges, my struggles, they're different today than they were last year. Like I do try really hard to push myself, to go outside of my comfort zone, to experiment, to put myself out there, even if I fall flat on my face. right? That is something that's important to me. The courage to try something new, even if I'm uncomfortable, because I believe that experimenting in this way is gonna help me evolve as a person, as a entrepreneur, as an artist, as a sister, as an aunt, as a family member, like whatever way it is that you wish to grow. I am the kind of person who really values transformation, and I push myself. And I love being around people who have that same quality. And so it's not about perfectionism. It's not about how successful you are in terms of how much money you have, or um, like it's really not a comparison on, oh, I have this and I have these material things and you don't. No, it's not that. What I'm talking about is the courage to try something new and to be in a different place than you were last week, last month, last year, last decade. And when I am around people that I notice are in the exact same place than they were a decade ago, that's a huge turn off for me. That's a red flag for me of like, ooh, I want to be careful that I don't um take on this stagnant energy and plateau in whatever it is that I'm doing in any particular area in my life. With that said, are there areas in my life where I feel like I've been talking about the same things for forever? Yeah, there are. And so when I notice that, I can't unsee that. And I really try to find someone, a mentor, someone I can connect with that can inspire me, encourage me, and push me in that direction. And that might be somebody that I might connect with on a personal level and like actually physically hang out with, or it might be somebody whose book I read or whose podcast I listen to, or whose sort of roadmap I try to follow, where I see somebody that I feel has been really successful in that particular area. I would study. I do study. How did they do it? What did they do differently that I'm not doing? And I will give it a try. Sometimes it's great, sometimes it's messy, whatever. I don't care as long as I feel that I'm at least trying. And I think that's the difference. So where am I going with all this? I guess I just really want to encourage you to look at your circle, look at who you're hanging out with, and make conscious decisions around that. Um, and again, I don't want to negate how difficult that might be sometimes. For example, I have a relative. I'm not going to say who because I don't want to call this person out, but I have a relative that I speak to often who is always stressed the fuck out. And this person is always talking about money and the lack thereof, and how expensive things are, and how this situation sucks, and this person sucks, and da, 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 and it's just like a lot of complaining. And I find that conversation, that general theme, is really draining for me. And worse than draining, it's actually it's depleting in a way where I will often get off the phone with this person and then start to worry about my money situation. And then I'll start to worry about, oh man, this thing really is really expensive. And all of a sudden, I'm filled with all this anxiety around like my life. And I have to recognize, like, wait, hold on, that's not my stuff. I'm taking it on, I'm wearing it and making it my own, but I have to catch myself and acknowledge, wait, that's not actually mine. So let me not take that on. So what do you do in that situation? The obvious choice is to cut that person off, is to like, nope, I can't have you in my life. You influence me in a weird way. I can't have you in my life. Like that might seem like the obvious default answer, but then what if you love this person? What if this is somebody who you do love, who you've grown up with, who you feel close to, who aside from that is a lovely person with really good intentions who loves you dearly, like what do you do in that situation? In that situation, I wouldn't cut that person off, and I haven't. Instead, what I do is that I limit those interactions. So instead of being on the phone for 10 hours a day every day, right, I might just have one conversation a week. um or instead of being with them every single weekend, maybe you just hang out with them once a month, one weekend a month. So you might limit that exposure. And then when you are exposed to that person's energy, set some boundaries. Maybe you do say, hey, I'm noticing a lot of complaint around this area. Why don't we change the subject and talk about this instead, right? Like you might try that approach. Or you might flat out say, hey, every time you talk about, about how you're going to pay your bills, it actually, I find that it stresses me out. Do you mind if we like just don't talk about that? So you might be more direct. Or if you find that you are just not able to manage the conversation away from that, and if you notice that they really just need a friend, they really just need a shoulder to lean on, and they really just need to vent, and you're the lucky person who gets to be who they vent to, like if that's just the situation you're in and you don't really see a way out, then be a friend, be a shoulder, listen. But then on your own, ground yourself and protect yourself by even like secretly speaking to yourself and saying, hey, this isn't mine, I'm not going to take it on, I'm going to be a friend and I'm going to listen and I'm going to support this person, but I'm making a conscious choice to not make this my story. I maybe you go for a walk afterwards. Maybe you you nourish yourself with a really healthy snack or something. Whatever it is that you need to do to listen, be there, and then immediately afterwards disconnect and say out loud, okay, I hear this. I acknowledge this is how I'm feeling. I'm anxious or nervous right now because I've sort of taken on some of this energy, but I'm saying it out loud that this isn't mine. Like maybe it is as simple as just saying it out loud. And I do sometimes do that. Another option is to just break up with the person. And there are times where, like, I remember my brother one time, I was talking about a friend of mine and how challenging it was to spend time with this person sometimes. And then my brother asked me, is this guy really your friend, or is he just somebody you've known for a long time? And oh my goodness, that question hit me so hard because it really gave me a new perspective with which to look at my relationships. Is this person truly your friend? Is this person somebody that lights you up, that encourages you, that inspires you, that supports you, that has your back, that you have a ton of fun with, that you trust, that you have these wonderful experiences with? Or is this somebody you just have known for a long time? If most of your relationships fall into that category, this person is just familiar, they've been around for forever, so I just keep hanging out because they're just kind of like a lingering energy, then you might start gradually or very abruptly distance yourself. On the other hand, if you look at any particular relationship and you're like, no, this person's amazing, I love being around them, then that's how you know. So think about what you want in life, what it is that you're trying to accomplish, what areas of your life could use that leveling up, and then look for your people. Be selective. If you are somebody, like for myself, I know that I would love to be more athletic or more physically active. And I'm not saying I want to become a bodybuilder. I'm not even saying that I want to get into a whole weight loss journey. Like, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that I would really, really love to be somebody who who does move, who does go on a hike, who and if you know me, then you're probably rolling your eyes and thinking, yeah, right, you're not gonna go on a hike. I'm not a very physically active, outdoorsy person, but there is a part of me who would love that. And so, how do I accomplish that? I'm gonna find my people. I'm gonna see who do I know that enjoys that, whose company I would enjoy, whose lifestyle I look up to and would love to adapt more of. And I'm gonna see if they wanna go for a hike with me. That's how you do it. If you are working on your business and you're trying to reach that next level, you're trying to bring in more income, hang out with people who are doing that already. You are bound to learn something from them, pick up something. And at the very least, just being in that energy shifts something inside of us. So be selective, find your people, and as difficult as it may be, don't be afraid to set boundaries, to protect yourself, to distance yourself when necessary. And don't be afraid to voice it out loud. That doesn't mean you have to go out there and be an asshole. Sorry, I can't hang out with you. I don't like what you're doing with your life, so I don't want to spend time with you. Don't do that. But maybe communicate, hey, I notice that every time we hang out, we are drinking too much. And I'm trying to cut back. I'm trying to make healthier choices. Do you mind if instead of going out to drink, we stay in and work on an arts and crafts project? That's totally my vibe. So I would I would be down for that any day. But that's an option as well. If you're feeling like you do want to keep and maintain the friendships that you already have, can you grow together? Can you experiment together? Can you try out new things, learn new things, take a class together? And there's also mentorship. Find somebody, hire somebody who can support you in leveling up in whatever area you're working on right now. That is so vital. That has been such a game changer for me. So don't knock that. Coaching can be really, truly transformative. Every coach that I have had has really impacted me for the better. And even the coaches or the mentors along the way that you only have for a tiny bit can make a big difference. And even the ones that you find are not your right fit, even that is valuable information. So go out there, experiment, try something new, and take a good hard look at who you're hanging out with, because they're either gonna lift you up or knock you down, and it's not even intentional. It's just the way that it is. So, if you want to be around like-minded people, that is why I created the Amaryllis Society. We are badass, go-getter, determined, funny, talented, educated, like obsessed with transformation and constantly looking to try the next thing. Like that's us, that's our group. If you want that energy, it is so contagious and it is so inspiring. Please do consider checking us out. And if not us, somebody else. Please get the support. Please get the community that you need to level up, because it is so important, not just in business, but on a personal level. Alrighty, that's it for now. Until next time.